of the major aims of starting this competition, or to say a series, we generally don't call it a competition because it's basically like an empirical study that we do, going on your own and trying to understand how things actually work on ground. So that was an inspiration for us. And the first edition was very successful. We had, and also the fact that this process has gone so smooth is because we've always had on board Miss Nalini Juneja. She was one of the drafters of the Right to Education Act 2009 itself. So we have gotten a lot of guidance from her all throughout the process, even for the first. She's an advisory board member for the Legal Aid and Awareness Committee. So we've always gotten a lot of guidance from her throughout all the initiatives related to RTE. And this time also, the questionnaire that they're going to discuss with you has also been prepared in consultation with ma'am. And she suggested a lot of surveys so that it can be holistically prepared, and the actual situation of what is happening in the government schools can actually be seen, and we can create a report out of it. So ma'am was also present in the first edition. I understand that this time the response that we've gotten is extremely overwhelming. It wasn't the same in the first because that was the first time we started, but it was a good edition that we started with. We had people, different dignitaries who came, people from the policy background, some professors, people actually working on ground to implement RT as advocates, drafters like Nalini ma'am. So there was a panel and a lot of students came to the campus. They presented. And what is very encouraging also is the fact that it's a representation pan-India. And this time also, when we see the different universities that have registered for this competition, there is a lot of diversity in terms of where they're coming from. So it's a lot of different areas and parts of India have been covered, which will actually help us to, because your data in the end, which will be compiled into a final report and used for a lot of policy representations and uh, other purposes, will definitely help us, because it'll show the implementation status of the RTE Act in different parts of the country. Had we done it ourselves, we could have only done it maybe in Jodhpur as we did and in Rajasthan. So our scope and our ambit would have been very limited. But with the help of all of you as participants to the competition, and in this format, we'll be able to gather a lot of data, which collectively we'll be able to use and present in front of a lot of people. So I won't take a lot of time because I understand this is a bit boring, but I just wanted to give you insight and background into what and why we are actually, and how serious we are about the RT initiatives that we take for. So the survey, as I mentioned, was one of the initiatives. Second is the RT paper presentation, which you're all a part of. And the third is the admissions that we actually do. I'm sure all of you are aware that under the RTE Act, there is a 25% reservation that's being provided in the private schools to children who come from underprivileged backgrounds. And this reservation is not being taken so much benefit of because of the fact that the whole process in different states in the country have become online. And due to less literacy and the parents not knowing the technical know-how, they're a lot of times not being able to make benefit of this provision and apply for the admissions. So through our Adhikar Ki Pehchan initiative, what we try to do is we try to help the parents in bridging the gap and try to fill the forms for them so that the technical gap can be bridged, and at the same time the benefit of the admissions can be given to the children. And even one admission matters a lot because in different states it's different rules and regulations that apply in terms of grade first, grade third, and there are different rules. I'm not going to discuss that today. We'll quickly move on to the next segment where we'll talk about the questionnaire, and Dhruv, Devendra, and Bianca will take over. So once again, I welcome all of you and thank you so much for being a part of this competition. Right. So most importantly, I think I've forgotten the most important segment of it. When I became a member of this committee, this was one of the videos that was always, and it's always shown to even the newer batches that come. This is the 2017 survey that I was mentioning. It's a video that was created after those surveys. And we'll show you two videos now. One is the video before the surveys, which actually shows the dilapidated condition that I've been actually highlighting. You'll get to see now the truer picture. And post that, we're going to show you a video of the little positive change that we were able to make through the PIL that's been ongoing in the Rajasthan High Court. So we'll take the discussion forth after that once you have a look at these videos. Thank you.
What does your father do?
My father is a farmer.
Okay, very nice. What is your mother's name?
Shivri Devi.
Sivri Devi. Very nice. How many brothers do you have?
One.
One brother? And how many sisters?
One.
One only? Okay. Thank you. Good.
आप बताएंगे कुछ इंग्लिश में अपने बारे में बता दीजिए। अपनी स्कूल के बारे में बताइए, आपको यहाँ पे रहना पढ़ना कैसा लगता है? मिस किया था लॉकडाउन में स्कूल को? बताइए आपके बारे में।
क्या करती थी लॉकडाउन में, ये बताइए। क्या
ऑनलाइन पढ़ाई?
Thank you everyone for staying with us. Now, Dhruv will explain the guidelines for conducting the survey in detail, and then Devendra will take over to explain the questionnaire.
Just a moment. Is my screen visible? All right. A very good evening to one and all present. I would be dealing with the practical aspects of what the competition entails and basically elaborating on how to conduct a survey. So the idea, as we have discussed, is to survey the implementation of the Right to Education Act, considering that 15 years have passed since the enactment of it, but the implementation still leaves much to be desired. Now, I will basically be dealing with three different stages broadly, in which the competition is divided. Firstly, the survey itself. Secondly, the report. And thirdly, the paper presentation. Now, before going out for the survey, I would recommend that the participants can familiarize themselves with the Right to Education Act thoroughly, specifically the Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act. When you read this particular act, you will feel that a lot of the recommendations and the statutory mandates which are there in the act are not being implemented. Specifically, what is important for our competition would be Section 19. And Section 19 basically says that no school shall be established or recognized under Section 18 unless it fulfills the norms and standards which are specified in the schedule. Now, the schedule of the Right to Education Act is actually very important because the schedule gives certain norms and standards that all government schools and all schools in general have to follow. These statutory mandates would include, for instance, a prescribed number of teachers, pupil teacher ratio, and the RTE Act also suggests that an all weather building should be there, consisting of at least one classroom for every teacher and an office come store come head teacher's room. So similar requirements are written in the Right to Education Act, which you will also be finding in our survey questionnaire itself. All of these guidelines which are there are the different steps, are the different questions which we have included in our survey questionnaire. Beyond the Right to Education Act, one resource that the participants can also make use of is the UDICE portal. Now, basically all of this information regarding the infrastructure of the school and the basic information of the school is also collected by the Government of India. This is collected through the UDICE portal, which is one of the largest management information systems that is started by the Department of School Education and Literacy, run by the Ministry of Education itself. It has all the requisite data that is there for the schools. But the problem with the UDICE data is that oftentimes it is self-reported, and there may be a lot of inconsistencies which may crop up when you actually go and do your field visit. So this particular portal may help you in corroborating your research, and you can also compare your actual findings with the UDICE data. And a lot of the basic information about the school which is included in the survey questionnaire can also be found here. But whenever you are referencing to UDICE data, it is recommended that you cite it and suggest that the data has been acquired from UDICE. So for accessing data, you can just go to this particular website and find a section called as Know Your School. Here you will find a button called as Visit Portal, which you can do. And on that, this particular page should come up. So you can search for the school which you have identified near your local area which you want to visit, and also find that particular school. So for instance, if I were to look for some schools in Jodhpur or a similar area, I would get this particular page after putting in all the necessary details. So for instance, when I search for the keyword Jodhpur, these are the different schools which came up to me. For example, there is a school called as Bal Bharti Secondary School. So for that school, I can access all of the necessary information which is there, including the location, the classes, the state, the district, block, and so on and so forth. All of this data will help you in basically preparing of the report. And there is also the school report card which is there. The school report card gives a lot of the information that is submitted by the schools themselves. So this would include, for example, the building status, any minor or major repairs which are there, and a lot of other similar information which is also there in our own survey. What you have to do is you have to compare the data that is given on this school report card and also look at the the on-ground picture which is there. So I feel that this UDICE portal can be of great help while you're conducting the survey and before you're conducting the survey. Beyond this, there are also certain other resources which you can make use of, including the questionnaire and all the documents that we have sent, including the note for filing the questionnaire itself. That note will usually have all the necessary details which are there, and you can supplement it also with the official government reports. Furthermore, we have also sent you one report that has been prepared by the Legal Aid and Awareness Committee itself, that is basically not dealing with this particular subject matter, that deals with Section 12(1)(c) of the Right to Education Act, which Ms. Pooja was also talking about. So that report deals with a different subject matter, that is with regard to economically weaker section students and the reservation that is there in the Right to Education Act. But reading that report, we feel that you can get a grasp of what is the quality of research that we are looking at, and also how to analyze data and draw conclusions from it. As to how you should be going about the survey, we would recommend that you identify schools in the local areas wherever you are, and all of these have to be government schools, because the focus of the survey here is on infrastructure. And basically at this juncture, I would like to mention a very important point, that there are certain universities from which there are also more than one teams. So for them, we would like to request to select different schools rather than going to the same schools, because that would be unfair to the other teams.
Devendra, is there a connection problem with Dhruv?
Right now.
Yeah.
I think his screen froze.
Right.
So it might be a network issue.
Yeah. Till the time Dhruv is joining, I'm just going to reiterate the last point that he stated, that it is mandatory for multiple teams who are coming from one university to select different schools for survey. It shouldn't be the case that, let's say, even a couple of schools shouldn't be the same among the teams from one single university, because we want to have as much diverse data as possible, and we want to include as many schools as possible. So please make sure that you take different schools, even if you're coming from the same university. Dhruv is joining in 1 minute.
I'm so sorry, I lost connection. I'll just continue. Am I audible?
Yes, Dhruv, you're audible.
All right. So just continuing from where I left. So I was just saying that the minimum schools which have to be surveyed by all the teams are 5. But owing to the amount of participation that we have received, we have removed the cap on the maximum number of schools which are there. At the same time, we would like to advise that the evaluation of the reports will take into account not only the quantity of schools, but also the quality of the survey. Now, one important question that we have also received from different teams is how to exactly get permission for conducting the survey. Now, the thing is that you will ordinarily get permission from the school itself. They should not have any problems, as we have also conducted surveys in the schools and they have not had a lot of issues. But on a case to case basis, we can issue a letter. You can request the same through the email, and we can issue a letter on the behalf of NLUJ Jodhpur that you are a bona fide participant in this competition and you need to survey for the purpose of that. In case the schools do not cooperate, then you can also seek help from the District Legal Services Authority of the district itself. Now, another point that I wanted to make was that the minimum requirement is in the competition is to conduct the empirical survey through the questionnaire that you have received. But beyond this, we have also suggested some informal, non-mandatory questions that you can ask. So, for instance, if you get a chance to interact with the headmaster or the teachers or even the students, you can ask about the infrastructure or whether any recent repairs have been made or whether the students are regular or if the teachers are regular. Now, the basic method that we have prescribed is field research through the survey questionnaire, but you can also utilize other methods, including interviews or focus group discussions. However, it is important that you can mention the methodology and justify it in the report itself. Now, furthermore, while conducting the survey, we also advise the students to click photos of the schools that you visit. So the photos would be attached with the report itself, uh, and that would act as evidence that you have visited these schools. Now, they would also qualitatively enrich the reports that you have made. Now, we have also, beyond photos, we have allowed teams to make videos if they wish to, similar to the one that we have showcased perhaps. Now, a 2-3 minute video will be allowed as part of the presentation itself. While this is not mandatory, we do encourage teams to unleash their creative potential if they want to. After the survey stage, the second stage of the competition would be the preparation of the report. Now, the deadline of the report submission, as you must have read in the brochure itself, is 15th of January 2025. The minutiae of the submission have been detailed in the brochure itself, which you may refer to. In the report, we encourage the usage of footnotes and also suggest that if any claims are made, teams can back it up with data and their own observations. We will also be sending a sample report that is to be strictly followed by all teams, and we'll be sending it in due time. In case of any queries with regard to the report preparation, you can reach out to us at any point, at any point of time. Now, we have also received a query as to if there is anything else to be submitted apart from the report itself. The answer to which is no. The report involves everything. It involves the introduction, the methodology, the presentation of the data, the analysis, and the recommendations from a legal and a public policy point of view. There is no other separate attachment that has to be submitted. The presentations, which is the third stage, are scheduled tentatively for 8th and 9th of February 2025. The presentations will be adjudged by a panel of two, which will involve academicians and advocates working in this area. It will tentatively be for a span of 10 minutes per team, during which teams will be adjudged on different criteria, including the depth of fieldwork, analysis quality, presentation structure, and the recommendations, all of which has also been mentioned in the brochure itself. Uh, so that is it for the survey and the procedure of the competition. I would now like to invite upon Devendra, who can explain the questionnaire survey better.
Just wait a second. Is the screen visible? Hello everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm here to guide you through the questionnaire and explaining the process to filling out the form. So there are two ways you can fill the form. First is the offline option, and other one is a direct online option. So you can fill the offline form during the survey that is currently showing on the screen. This will allow you to save your response for your reference while preparing your reports. Once you are ready, you can later transfer those responses into the Google form. And alternatively, you can fill out the Google form directly. Just make sure to have a copy of your response for your own records. Now let's move on the structure of the questionnaire. So it is divided into three main sections. The first one is about the basic information about the schools. The second one focuses on the teachers and the people. And the third and the final section covers the infrastructure aspect. So we'll begin with the first section, which is crucial for setting for the foundation of the discussion. Before we start, let me remind you of something important. If you have any question or doubt at any point during the session, feel free to type them in the chat box. I'll address them promptly to ensure everything is clear. So let's start. So when we see in the top right corner, there is a team code. So you have to put the team code which we have allotted to you. And let's start with the first question. You have to put the name of the school. And the second is a self-explanatory, like where the school is situated, either is in a village or a town. So you can fill out this accordingly. Or you, if you are not aware of the area which where the college is situated, you can ask the school headmaster or any other staff there. So, and the third is self-explanatory, the 6-digit pin code and the block name. So in five, you have to mention about the lowest class in the school. So sometimes what happens, the school also other schools also going on in the same school, like Anganwadi on the other things, so which are pre-primary. So you don't have to mention about their last class. You have to mention the lowest class in the pre-primary school. And the question number 6 is about the highest class in the school. So when you survey about the junior schools or like a junior high school, so you have to mention about the highest class or their school, not the fifth class, which is for the primary school. So in question number 7, you have to mention where the village is situated, is either in an urban or rural area. So question number 8, sometimes what happens, like there are only the girls school or the boys school. So you have to mention is either is a co-ed or girls boys school. In question number 9, you have to mention about is the school is approachable by all weather roads. So all this means like schools should be accessible throughout the year. Like if the roads are broken, then they won't be accessible in rainy season and also. In the question number 10, you have to mention about the school runs in shift. So sometimes what happens, like schools, when the number of students are more, so schools run in shift, like evening shift or the morning shift. So you have to mention if they are running in shift or not. So in the 11th question, you have to mention about the headmaster. Headmaster is the principal of the school. So sometimes principal is missing or is not posted there. So the charge is given to the assistant teacher. So you have to mention about the assistant teacher if in case headmaster is not posted there. In question number 12, you can mention the oh sorry. Okay.
Is it clear now? Thank you. So apart from these questions, you can ask some informal questions. You can either ask from the teaching staff or non-teaching staff or like students out there, like these are mentioned especially for the students, like who lives closest to the school, or how does it takes to walk, or who lives farthest to the school, which will give you idea about the topography of the students studies there, like does they felt any difficulty in attending school or not. In Let's move to the next section, which is people and teachers in the primary school. So for this you have to only specifically mention about take data for the first to fifth class only. As I earlier mentioned, there are some schools where the other classrooms of first to eighth are also going on, but you have to specifically mention about the first to fifth class only. So you have to mention about the number of students in the grade first to fifth. You can ask the school register itself. Or in the question number 14, you have to put the number of students present on that door. So, and in question number 15, you can just simply formula make the find the percentage of the students. So it's discretionary if you can head count on yourself. In question number 16 is like number of teachers for grade 1 to 5 posted on the school. And in 17, you have to mention about the teachers who were present on it. And question number 18 is self-explanatory. You have to just find the percentage. In question number 19, you have to mention about there are certain conditions in the RTE Act about in the schedule that if there are some strength in of the student, then there is mandatorily this number of teachers should be present there. So you can just go through about the like if there are 60 strength, then there is mandatory to have a two teachers, and you can just read it through and find it yourself. It's self-explanatory. In the question number 20, you have to put the non-teaching staff. So apart from teaching staff, there are some non-teaching staffs as well, which and you have to in question number 21, you have to mention about the who pays the salary of the non-teaching staff. Actually, sometimes it happens ki government doesn't directly pays them. They are on the contractual basis by the school headmaster only. So government puts money in school headmaster's account and he distributes it. So you have to mention about that. And the question number 20, for what work the non-teaching staff has been employed. So you have to mention about what they do. Sometimes what happens ki non-teaching staff also teaches in the schools in place of the teaching staff. So in next section is the infrastructure section, which is our core. So we have to first mention about the building. So how you describe the building? Is it pakka, kacha, or semi partially pakka? So if it made up of the brick walls and cemented walls, then it will be pakka. And if it's from the mud, then it will be kacha. In question number 24, you have to mention about total number of rooms. So in schools, there are some rooms which for the classrooms, and the other will be the other activities like kitchen, office, and all. So you have to mention about the total number of rooms in the school. And question number 20, you have to mention about the rooms which are specifically used to teach to the students. In question number 26, you have to mention about the is there one classroom per teacher. So you can count a number of classrooms and number of teacher and then put yes or no. In question number 27, you have to mention, so there is a mandatory requirement if the strength of the school is more than 150, then you have to mandatory have a headmaster. So you have to check whether the headmaster is there or not. In question number 20, if headmaster is there a specific room allotted to him for his office or not? Or you can ask informal question for make your report more detailed, that why these rooms are closed. If some of the rooms are closed that are used for any other purposes, like sometimes what happens, like the head of the village use the specific rooms for uh, storing some administrative equipments and all. So you have to check whether they are using for the teaching the school's requirement or not. So there are 39, you have to mention about the number of classroom which need minor repairs, and other one is a major repair. So the difference in minor and major is that if there is structural changes, like the wall is broken and the roof is not there, or like railings are not there, then it's a major repair. Or if the window is broken or glass broken, then it will be a minor repair. In question number 31, you have to mention about the other rooms other than the classroom which needs repair. In next section is library. So library is mandatory as per the RTE guidelines. So in 32, you have to mention about the is there any library. So sometimes what happens ki, in absence because of the limited classrooms, they doesn't make the separate room for library. They just delegate a certain section of the room for the library section. So you have to mention is there a separate space or a separate room, or entirely no washroom or no library. In question number 33, you have to mention about does the library has contain newspaper. These are self-explanatory question. So let's move to the question number 36, where you have to mention about does the library contain storybooks or not. Like sometimes what happens, like in library there are school subject related books, but not the storybooks, which eventually help in need nourishing the students. So in question number 36 7, you have to mention about the record of the books issued. So sometimes what happens ki, in schools there are no librarian, so head teacher or the academic staff keeps a record. So you have to mention check whether the record is kept or not. In the or you can ask the informal question from the students as well, like do they visit library, do why is the library is closed, or like are student allowed to touch the books and the or whatever you deemed fit at that question. In the 38, if years above, then data when the last book was issued. Like if the record of the books are kept, then you have to mention about the date when the last book was issued. So in next section is the playground section, which playground is also a mandatory requirement. And 39, you have to mention about is there any playground in the school. So sometimes it happens in the urban area, the due to unavailability of the space, the playground is not there. And the question number 40, you like to how would you describe the playground? Is it playable or not? Like if there are like animals are there, or like the proper slides are not there, so you can, it's your own discretion how would you describe the playground. In question number 41, you have to mention about do student get any play material, sports equipment, which is mandatory. So and apart from this, you can, there are some informal question you can ask the students. The next section is about the washroom facilities. So whether the total number of toilets available for the girls and boys, if in case there are separate. In question number 43, you have to mention about the total number of functional and usable washroom for the girls or boys. Sometimes what happens ki they log some washrooms and in question number 44, you have to mention about the are there any separate toilets for teacher. Like is it there, or they are just reserved one the common washroom for the teachers. In the 45, you have to mention are there any locked or not. Or you can ask informal question to the childrens as well about where do you go when you need to use a toilet or not, or do you really use toilet in school or not. There's some formal question which you can ask. The next section is the drinking water. So is there any facilities available for the safe drinking water for children or not? Like as previously we saw in a video, like people, students were carrying their own bottles from the far place. So in the 47, you have to mention about are the children allowed to use teachers' water supply or not. In the 48, you have to mention about the mode of the drinking water. Okay. In question number 45, what is the condition surrounding near the facility? It is subjective. You have to observe by yourself and see like what is the condition nearby. Is there any hand wash facility available or not? It's not mandatory, but if it is there, it's good. And the next one is if yes, it is functional and sufficient. So it's functional sufficiency is have to judge by yourself. The next question is security of the school. So for security of the school, is there boundary wall or fencing? Put yes or no. Is there or is this boundary wall fencing sufficient for security of the school? So you are for the question number 53, you have to decide by yourself. Like what do you think? Is the boundary wall is sufficient or not? Like sometimes what happens ki the boundary walls are broken, the stray animals come inside the school and all. Or you can ask informal question to the teacher as well as the students. In the last section is the teaching in the schools. When you visited the school, what were the teachers were doing? Whether they were teaching or they were indulged in the wait. Yes, you have to share the response sheet. Yes, we will share the questionnaire PDF. No, the semi-government schools are not allowed. So let's move to the question number 52. Apart from teaching, what else are they doing? Like sometimes what happens, like government school teachers have to work in more admin work, whether there are election going on or like census going on. So these are the some work they have to do. And the in question number 56, does school assembly happen in the school or not? So it's self-explanatory. I think that's all. Let us know in the chat box if any of the questions are there. I think there are no more doubts. Like
Okay, so
I
Loveleen
think
has
the
asked.
questionnaire is
Yeah.
self-sufficient for our cause. You can you officially you can't make your own questionnaire. You have to stick to our questionnaire only.
However, at the same time, you can include any other interview
So the
questions
higher
that you
class
have.
and the lower class question is like in sometimes what happens like schools are categorized into three categories like junior high school and the primary school. So in primary school there are 1 to 5, 1 to 8 and 1 to 12. So if you are serving the school is a junior school, then in case you have to mention survey only the first to fifth class. So I think that's okay. And we survey different states. Yes, you can survey a different state school. Yes, you can visit another state for making your report. Uh, so it's on your discretion. You can visit government school, central government school, or the local government schools. Yes, you can mention about the informal questions that you asked. Just you have to submit this questionnaire along with the Google form by scanning that. Okay, will give you access of the questionnaire. Uh, yes, it will be uploaded on YouTube.
I think Mansi raised her hand. If she wants to ask a question, she can speak up.
Hello, ma'am. Ma'am, I had the same query related that whether we can add our own questionnaires on the informal basis. So, like, I guess you have answered that.
Mansi, you were saying something.
Hello, sir. Am I audible clearly?
Yes, Mansi, you're audible.
Ma'am, actually, I was asking the same question that whether we can add our own questionnaires on the informal basis. So, you have already answered that. Thank you so
All
much.
right. All right. Thank you. If anybody has any further questions, please let us know. Or if you may wish to speak, you may raise your hand as well. All right. If nobody has any further questions, we will conclude the orientation session. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending this session. We hope it was insightful for you. And if you have any doubts, even after this session, please feel free to reach out to any of us via phone, or you may drop a mail as well. All the best for the survey, and we look forward to receiving your reports. Thank you. Akshata has raised her hand. Yes, Akshata.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Actually, in the starting, you said that a lot of colleges are overlapping. There are several people from the same college, right? The colleges are huge. We don't know who all are participating. Can you please share the list so that if anyone is there from our college, we can just see and not go to the schools they are going?
In case there are multiple teams participating from one college, we must have specified in the email itself asking for a no objection certificate. So if you haven't received any email like that, you can assume that there are no more teams from your college.
Okay, thank you.
I too had a query, if that's all right. Where can we find your contact information?
You can look at it in the brochure, or we have also sent it to you via email.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
No worries. All right. Thank you, everyone. We'll conclude the orientation session. Ragya has asked if there's a range for the region of survey.
I don't think there is any range for the region. You can survey as far as it is convenient for you.
Bianca, let's wait for a couple of more minutes.
Sure.
I'm sure questions are coming, yes.
Danish is asking if we would share the bona fide student letter. Yes, we would. In case you want one, we will send it to you via email. Yes, Safa, you may speak.
Actually, I wanted to ask you that when you have to seek sometimes permissions for schools, right, to go and survey. So maybe there might be a bit of a duration that you have to put in middle. For example, if I need to go tomorrow, I have to like priorly ask 2-3 days before. So has it ever happened where asking permission priorly affects the quality, because maybe then the officials are notified that someone is coming from outside, so they try to maybe prep up the school to look more better. Is that ever as an issue occurred?
I think there is no such requirement you have to ask prior. you can just directly go and conduct the survey.
Okay. Thank you.
Safa, and also to add to what Devendra said, even if you take prior permission 2-3 days before and the authorities know that you're going to visit the school, they won't be able to make a lot of changes. I understand there may be some changes, but that is how you conduct the survey also. For example, in terms of testing what's the quality of education, you can ask the students questions in terms of basic math and English questions. For example, then you can go to the maybe the staff room where the teachers sit. You can have a look at the registers. There is a school management committee also that's there. How many meetings have happened and all of that. So I think the bias that will be created due to the prior permission, you can bridge that by being a little proactive when you do the survey and try to communicate more with the support staff that's there. They might be able to provide you some sort of information that may not be apparently seen.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Please let us know if there are any other questions. I think we can end the session now. Maybe if there are further doubts, they'll reach out to you. Yes. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Thank you.